Captain Ilara Voss stood at the edge of the great star station Antares, her eyes scanning the endless darkness beyond the giant windows. The station floated quietly in the black void, surrounded by distant stars that blinked like tiny diamonds. Around her, alien diplomats and humans alike moved with purpose, their voices low but full of tension. This was a meeting like no other, a chance to make peace or start war. Ilara was a human diplomat, chosen for her sharp mind and calm heart. She had traveled far from Earth to join this gathering. The leaders of many alien worlds had come together, but all eyes were on one figure, Queen Varelia of the Yllari Empire. The Yllari were mysterious. Their ships shimmered with colors no one could name, and their language was a strange song of clicks and hums. Queen Varelia herself was taller than most, her skin glowing faintly in the low light. No one really knew her thoughts, but her power was clear. As the clock on the station struck midnight, a hush fell over the crowd. Ilara's heart beat faster. She had heard rumors that the queen might say something unexpected tonight. Suddenly, without warning, the queen's voice reached Ilara's ears, soft, almost a whisper, but with a strength that could not be ignored. "Don't ask," the queen said, stepping closer, her eyes locked on Ilara's. "Just follow me." Ilara blinked in surprise. The room seemed to grow colder, the lights dimmer. Before anyone could stop her, the queen turned and walked toward a shadowed corridor at the far end of the hall. For a moment, Ilara hesitated. Diplomats and guards shouted, but something in the queen's tone pulled her forward. Against her better judgment, she rose from her seat and hurried after her. The corridor was narrow and silent, lit only by faint blue lights along the walls. It felt ancient, as if no one had walked here in centuries. Ilara's footsteps echoed as she struggled to keep up with the queen's calm, steady pace. "Where are you taking me?" Ilara asked quietly, but the queen said nothing. After what felt like an endless walk, they stopped before a large metal door, covered in strange symbols that glowed softly. The queen pressed her hand against the door, and it slid open with a low hiss. Inside was a room unlike anything Ilara had seen. Walls covered in glowing patterns, strange machines humming with power, and a large map of stars floating in the air. The queen finally spoke again. "You must know, Captain, there are secrets hidden beneath this station. Secrets that could change everything you believe about your people and the galaxy." Ilara swallowed hard. She looked at the glowing symbols, the map, and the serious face of the queen. Her mind raced with questions, but the queen's words echoed again. "Don't ask. Just follow me." Ilara took a deep breath. She did not understand, but she knew this was only the beginning of something far greater, and far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. Ilara stepped into the glowing room behind Queen Varelia, her eyes wide with wonder and fear. The strange machines hummed softly, filling the air with a deep vibration. The floating map showed stars and planets Ilara had never seen before. It felt like a secret world hidden inside the star station. Without turning, the queen spoke in a calm voice. "This place is older than the station itself. It was built long before humans or Yllari traveled the stars." Ilara frowned. "Older? How is that possible? Humans only began space travel a few centuries ago." Varelia smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "There are things older than time here. Things most beings do not understand." She reached out and touched one of the glowing walls. Suddenly, the wall pulsed, like a heartbeat. The light moved under her fingers, changing colors slowly from blue to red, then green. Ilara felt a strange warmth spread through the room. "What is this?" Ilara asked, stepping closer. "The pulse," the queen said softly. "It is alive. Not like us, but it has memories. Memories of a time before any of us were born." Ilara shivered. She looked around, realizing the walls themselves seemed to breathe. "Why show me this?" Varelia's eyes darkened. "Because something has awakened beneath Antares, something dangerous. something that has waited for a long time. Ilara's heart raced. What is it? The queen's voice dropped to a whisper. An ancient enemy. A creature of darkness and thought. It can control minds, twist thoughts, and erase entire civilizations. Ilara swallowed hard. She had heard stories of such creatures before, but always as myths. And why do you say I can stop it? She asked, feeling a mix of fear and hope. The queen turned fully to face her. Because you are human. Your kind is different. You have a spark that this darkness cannot touch. Ilara frowned, confused. We're just animals, like any other species. Varelia shook her head slowly. No, you are unpredictable. You feel things deeply. Fear, hope, anger, joy. These emotions make you strong in ways others are not. Ilara's mind raced. She remembered the calm, collected diplomats who seemed so perfect. But maybe it was the chaos inside humans that gave them power. The queen stepped forward again. I need you to trust me. We must find a way to stop this enemy before it spreads beyond the station. Ilara nodded, her fear now mixed with determination. What do we do next? Varelia smiled faintly. Follow me. The queen led her through another hidden door, deeper into the station's underbelly. The walls here were tighter, the pulse stronger. Ilara could feel it in her chest, a steady, powerful rhythm that seemed to call to something deep inside her. As they walked, the air grew colder. Strange whispers floated just out of reach, like voices trying to speak, but held back by some invisible barrier. Ilara glanced at the queen. What are those? The whispers of the enemy's prisoners, Varelia said quietly. Their minds caught in darkness, waiting to be freed. Ilara's resolve hardened. Whatever this enemy was, she would not let it win. Not if she could help it. She took a deep breath and followed the queen into the unknown. The hidden corridor ended at a massive door covered with glowing symbols. Queen Varelia raised her hand, and the door opened slowly with a soft hiss. Ilara stepped inside and gasped. The room was unlike anything she had ever seen. Ancient technology hummed softly around them, and strange devices floated in the air. In the center of the room was a large circular platform with a shimmering light hovering above it. The walls were covered with pictures and maps, some of stars, others of strange creatures. But what caught Ilara's attention most was a strange object resting on a pedestal near the far wall. It looked like a small crystal globe, but inside, Ilara thought she saw something moving, something alive. Queen Varelia's voice was quiet but firm. This is the vault of first contact. It holds secrets older than any written history. Ilara took a step closer to the globe. Suddenly, a soft light spread from it, and she saw images flash before her eyes. Stars exploding, ships flying through wormholes, faces she did not recognize. And then, humans. But these humans were not like those she knew. Their clothes were strange, their ships unlike anything modern science could build. Ilara's heart raced. These humans are ancient. How is this possible? The queen nodded. Yes, these records show that humans have traveled the stars for thousands of years, much longer than anyone realized. Ilara looked closer at the images and gasped. Some of the DNA patterns glowing on the walls matched her own species, but these relics were older than the oldest human history books. The queen's eyes held a strange sadness. You have always believed humans came late to the galaxy, but you were wrong. Your people were here first. You helped shape the stars. Ilara's mind whirled with questions, but before she could speak, the globe pulsed with light. The images changed, showing a dark shape, a shadow moving through space, consuming light and life. That is the enemy, Varelia said. It has destroyed entire civilizations before. It waits to return. Ilara looked up, determination growing inside her. Then we must stop it. The queen's voice softened. There is one more thing you need to know. This enemy cannot be defeated by force alone. Ilara frowned. Then how? Virelia took Ilara's hand gently. It must be stopped by those who remember the past, by the spark of origin itself, by humans. Ilara swallowed hard. Me? The Queen nodded. Yes, Captain. You have a role no one else can play. Ilara's mind was full of wonder and fear. She looked around the room once more, the ancient stars and strange faces watching her silently. Suddenly, the door behind them began to close. Come, Virelia said urgently. There is no time to lose. Ilara took a deep breath and followed the Queen out of the vault, her thoughts racing. The galaxy was bigger, older, and more dangerous than she had ever imagined. And now she was part of something far greater than herself. As Ilara followed Queen Virelia out of the vault, her mind was still spinning. The truth about humans, their ancient history among the stars, was overwhelming. But the Queen had said there was more, something else Ilara needed to understand. They entered a small chamber filled with strange devices that looked like they belonged in a dream. At the center stood a chair surrounded by glowing rings and wires that hummed softly. The Queen gestured for Ilara to sit. This device will show you the memories of your ancestors, Virelia said quietly. You will see what they saw, feel what they felt. Ilara hesitated. She had always trusted her own mind, her own experiences, but something inside her told her this was important. She sat down, and the rings moved closer around her head. A soft light bathed her face. Slowly, images and feelings flooded her mind. She was no longer in the station. She was on a strange planet, bright and wild. She saw humans with strong bodies and shining eyes, sailing great ships through the stars. They spoke a language she didn't know, but their faces were familiar, like echoes of her own. Suddenly, the scene changed. The stars around them flickered and darkened. She saw a shadow moving, huge and terrible, swallowing light and hope. The ancient humans fought bravely, using strange weapons that glowed with power. But the shadow was relentless, spreading like a poison through space. Ilara felt their fear, their courage, their hope. All at once, she saw friends lost, worlds destroyed, and promises made in the darkness. When the visions ended, Ilara gasped for breath. Her heart pounded, and tears filled her eyes. Queen Virelia's voice was soft but strong. That shadow is the enemy. It is a force of destruction, a mind that consumes and controls. Ilara wiped her eyes. How do we stop it? They fought and lost. The key is you, the Queen said. You carry a spark, a light born of those first humans. It is this spark that can resist the shadow's control. Ilara looked down at her hands, feeling small but important. You must remember these memories, Virelia said. They will guide you. You are not alone. Ilara's mind raced. The burden was heavy, but so was the promise of hope. Suddenly, the chamber's light flickered. The Queen's eyes narrowed. We do not have much time. The shadow stirs even now. Ilara stood, feeling stronger than before. Then we must act. Virelia nodded. Good. You will need allies, people who can fight with your spark. Ilara took a deep breath. Her journey had just begun, but she no longer doubted her place in the galaxy. With the memories of her ancestors burning in her mind, she stepped forward into the unknown. The star station hummed with activity, but Ilara felt a chill creeping through the air. Something was wrong. The once lively corridors now seemed quiet, too quiet. As she walked, she noticed faces. Diplomats and crew alike were calm, too calm, as if their minds were no longer their own. Queen Virelia walked beside her, her eyes sharp. They are no longer themselves, she said softly. The enemy's power grows. It uses what we call the Whisper Network. Ilara frowned. Whisper Network. It is a dark force that spreads like a virus, the Queen explained. It controls thoughts and actions without breaking the body. The infected follow its will without question. Ilara's stomach tightened. How do we stop something that controls minds? Virelia's gaze was steady. That is why we need you. Humans are different. Your brains are chaotic. Your emotions are strong and unpredictable. This makes you resistant to the Whisper Network. Ilara looked around. She saw her fellow humans, smugglers, soldiers, scientists, moving with restless energy, their moods changing quickly. We don't always follow rules. Maybe that is our strength. Exactly, the Queen said. The enemy cannot control what it cannot predict. Suddenly, an alarm blared through the station. Red lights flashed. The Whisper Network was spreading faster than they hoped. Ilara turned to the Queen. What now? We fight back, Virelia said. We must use the chaos of humanity to break the network's hold. Ilara's mind raced. She gathered a small team. A group of humans known for their unpredictable actions. A quick-thinking smuggler, a hot-headed soldier, and a brilliant scientist who loved to break rules. Together, they moved through the station, disrupting the enemy's influence wherever they could. The smuggler created distractions, the soldier challenged infected guards, and the scientist hacked into the station's systems to send bursts of chaotic signals. Ilara led them with determination. She felt the strange power inside her, the spark Virelia spoke of, guiding her. But the enemy was strong. The infected diplomats were closing in, their eyes blank and cold. The Whisper Network was trying to isolate the humans, to silence their chaos. Ilara shouted, "Hold the line. Don't let them take control." In the middle of the chaos, Virelia appeared, fighting beside them. Her glowing hands pushed back waves of dark energy, but Ilara could see the strain on her face. "We can't keep this up forever," the Queen warned. "We need a plan." Ilara nodded. "Then we find the source of the Whisper Network and shut it down." Virelia looked at her with respect. "Good. You are ready." Ilara's heart beat fast. The battle had begun, and the fate of the station, and maybe the galaxy, depended on their next move. She clenched her fists. "Let's end this." Ilara led her small team through twisting corridors deep inside the star station. The air grew colder, and the lights dimmed as they moved closer to the heart of the enemy's power, the Shadow Core. The Queen walked beside Ilara, her glowing skin dimmed with worry. The core is where the Whisper Network is born. If we destroy it, the enemy's hold will break. Ilara nodded, feeling the weight of the mission. But what waits inside? We don't know what traps or dangers there could be. Virelia smiled faintly. That is why you are needed. Your unpredictability makes you strong. The team moved quietly, aware that the enemy's whispers grew louder with every step. The voices were soft, like a cold breeze, trying to twist their thoughts. Ilara felt the pull too, a strange, dark voice calling her name, trying to make her stop. She shook her head, focusing on the glowing path ahead. "We don't listen," she told her team firmly. "Stay strong." Finally, they reached a giant door carved from black stone, etched with glowing red symbols. The Queen reached out and touched it. The door opened slowly, revealing a cavern filled with strange machines pulsing with dark energy. In the center was a massive core, spinning slowly and glowing with a sickly green light. Tendrils of shadow reached out from it, writhing like living things. Ilara's heart pounded. That must be the source. Virelia stepped forward. Yes, but it is protected by the enemy's greatest trap, the Mind Maze. Ilara frowned. Mind Maze. The Queen explained. It is a psychic prison. Anyone who enters may be lost in their own fears and memories, trapped forever. Ilara looked at her team. We have to be ready. If we get lost, the enemy wins. They stepped into the cavern, and the air shifted around them. Suddenly, the walls melted away, replaced by shifting visions, scenes from their past, fears, and hopes. Ilara found herself alone in a dark forest, hearing whispers of doubt and fear. She saw shadows from her past, failures, losses, moments of pain. But then, she remembered the Queen's words about the spark inside her, the light born from her ancestors. She focused on that light, letting it grow inside her. The shadows tried to pull her down, but she pushed back, moving through the forest until she reached a bright clearing. Ilara opened her eyes and found herself back in the cavern. Her team was around her, each one struggling but still fighting. Varelia smiled. "You have passed the test." Ilara nodded, feeling stronger and more certain. "Now how do we stop the core?" The Queen gestured to a panel of ancient controls. "We must destroy its power source. But it will not be easy." As Ilara moved forward to work the controls, the core pulsed violently. Shadows lashed out, trying to stop her. She clenched her teeth. "I won't let you win." With a sudden surge of strength, Ilara pushed the buttons, and the core began to break apart. The station shook, lights flickered, the whispers faded. The battle was far from over, but the enemy's power was weakening. Ilara looked at Varelia. "We did it. For now." The Queen nodded. "Yes, but the galaxy still holds many secrets. Your journey has only begun." The station trembled as the shadow core shattered. Dark energy drained away, leaving the corridors brighter and quieter than they had been in weeks. But Ilara knew the fight was not over. Queen Varelia guided her to a small chamber deep within the station. Here, ancient devices glowed softly, waiting to reveal the next step. Destroying the core was only the beginning. Varelia said, "The enemy's mind may be broken, but its spirit lives on. We must find the source, the origin of the darkness." Ilara nodded, her mind racing. "Where do we start?" The Queen activated a glowing map. Points of light blinked rapidly across the galaxy. "These are places the enemy has touched. Many worlds suffer in silence." Ilara's eyes fixed on a distant star cluster. One point glowed brighter than the others. "That place. What is it?" Varelia's face darkened. "The Shadow Nexus. It is a world consumed by darkness, where the enemy was born." Ilara took a deep breath. "We have to go there." Varelia nodded. "But be warned, the Nexus is a trap. Many who go never return." Ilara looked at her team, tired but ready. "We don't have a choice. We have to end this." They boarded a small ship, leaving the station behind. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, the ship's engines humming softly. As they neared the Shadow Nexus, the ship's sensors detected strange energy readings. The darkness was thick and alive, pressing against the hull. Ilara's heart pounded. "Stay alert. This is no ordinary mission." The ship entered the Nexus orbit, revealing a planet covered in swirling black storms and twisted landscapes. It was a world of shadows, strange and dangerous. They landed on a rocky plain, the air thick with silence. The ground seemed to swallow their footsteps. Suddenly, the ship's alarms blared. Shadows flickered at the edges of their vision, moving faster than light. Ilara raised her weapon. "Get ready. They're coming." Creatures made of smoke and shadow appeared, their eyes glowing red. They moved with terrifying speed, attacking from all sides. The team fought fiercely. Ilara's heart raced as she fired, dodged, and led her team through the chaos. But the shadows kept coming, endless and hungry. In the heat of battle, Ilara heard a voice, not from outside, but inside her mind. It was calm, steady. "Remember who you are," the voice said. "The light inside you is stronger than the darkness." Ilara clenched her fists, feeling warmth spread through her chest. With new strength, she fought harder, pushing the shadows back. The creatures howled and retreated, vanishing into the storms. Breathing heavily, Ilara looked at her team. "We made it. But the Nexus is only the beginning." Queen Varelia nodded. "Yes. Now we must find the heart of the darkness." Ilara's eyes shone with determination. "Then let's finish this." Ilara and her team pushed forward into the Shadow Nexus. the dark storms swirling around them like restless ghosts. The air was thick and cold, making every breath feel heavy. Queen Varelia led the way, her glowing hands lighting the path. "The heart of the darkness lies deep beneath the surface," she said. "We must be careful. The enemy's power grows stronger the closer we get." Ilara's fingers tightened around her weapon. "We've come this far. Nothing will stop us now." They entered a giant cavern, the walls shimmering with dark energy. Strange symbols glowed faintly, telling stories of long-forgotten battles and lost civilizations. Suddenly, the ground shook violently. From the shadows, a towering figure emerged, a creature made of living darkness, with eyes burning like embers. Ilara froze for a moment, then stepped forward. "This is it, the enemy's true form." The creature's voice rumbled like thunder. "You cannot stop what was born in shadow. Your light is weak." Ilara felt fear, but she pushed it down. "Maybe, but it's not alone." Queen Varelia raised her hands, sending waves of light crashing into the creature. The shadows screamed but held their ground. Ilara looked around and saw her team preparing to fight. The smuggler threw glowing grenades, the soldier fired steady bursts, and the scientist worked to disrupt the enemy's power with her gadgets. The battle was fierce. The creature lashed out with dark tendrils, trying to crush them. But Ilara remembered the spark inside her, the ancient light her ancestors left behind. She closed her eyes and reached deep within. A warm glow spread from her chest, growing brighter with every breath. With a cry, Ilara charged, her light shining like a beacon in the darkness. The creature recoiled, screaming as the light burned through its shadowy form. "Now, team," she shouted. Together, they unleashed their strongest attacks, pushing the darkness back. The creature howled one last time, then shattered into a million sparks of dark energy, vanishing into the air. The cavern grew still. The heavy darkness lifted, replaced by a soft, warm light. Queen Varelia smiled, her eyes shining. "The enemy is defeated." Ilara felt a deep relief wash over her, but she also knew their journey was not just about fighting darkness. It was about remembering who they were and protecting the light for the future. As they left the Nexus behind, the stars seemed to shine brighter, as if the galaxy itself was waking from a long nightmare. Ilara looked at her team, tired but proud. "We did it, together." The Queen nodded. "Yes, and now, the real work begins." Ilara smiled. "Whatever comes next, we're ready." The starship cut through the endless stars like a silver arrow. Ilara stood at the helm, her eyes fixed on the glowing horizon. The galaxy was vast, full of mysteries and dangers, but also hope. Queen Varelia's words still echoed in her mind. "Don't ask, just follow me." At first, Ilara had not understood, but now she knew that sometimes faith and courage mattered more than questions. The signal they had received led them to a small, distant planet called Leora. It was quiet, almost too quiet. The air was thin, and the sky glowed with soft colors that shifted like the dawn. Ilara's team stepped carefully onto the surface. The landscape was beautiful but strange. Tall crystals rose from the ground, humming with energy. The people of Leora were missing, vanished without a trace. As they explored, they found signs of a battle: scorched earth, broken technology, and strange symbols carved into the rocks. "We are not alone," the scientist whispered. "Something powerful is here." Suddenly, shadows rose from the ground, swirling like smoke, but this time, Ilara felt no fear. The light inside her burned bright. "Stand together," she shouted. Her team formed a circle, their weapons ready. The shadows moved closer, but Ilara reached out with her mind, sending waves of warmth and light. The darkness shrieked and recoiled. Queen Varelia stepped forward, her hands glowing like suns. Together, they pushed the shadows back, forcing them to retreat into the earth. When the battle ended, a soft voice spoke from the crystals. It was the spirit of Leora. a guardian of the planet. "Thank you, light-bearers," the spirit said. "You have saved my world." Ilara smiled, feeling the power of the ancient light spread through her. "We fight for all who cannot." The spirit nodded. "The galaxy is connected. Every world, every life, shines in the darkness." As they prepared to leave, Ilara looked at her team, tired but hopeful. They had faced shadows, fought impossible battles, and found strength they never knew they had. "Where to next?" the smuggler asked with a grin. Ilara smiled. "Wherever the light is needed." Queen Virelia placed a hand on Ilara's shoulder. "You have become more than a follower. You are a leader, a beacon for the galaxy." Ilara took a deep breath, feeling the weight and honor of those words. "Then I will keep walking forward. For the light, for the future." The starship rose into the sky, leaving behind the glowing crystals of Leora. The galaxy stretched before them, full of stars and stories yet to be told. Ilara looked to the stars and whispered, "Thank you, Queen. I will follow and lead." The light inside her blazed brighter than ever, a shining promise that even in the darkest night, hope would never fade.